Hello, everyone. I'm Jaha Zainabu, and welcome to Storytime with Jaha Zainabu 32. Um, 32. Today I am not going to begin with a random story because today's conversation will probably just be a collection of random stories with one central focus. Um, these are very sensitive times, and I want to, um, just stress the importance of telling your story. So, I talked about this in another story time. I'll say, your story is important and, get it out of you, let it out, let it out, let it out. But no, really. It's giving your story is the diary of Anne Frank important to the world right now. Um, if you are in America, I know that at times our trip probably everywhere. I'm not everywhere, I'm here. I am in America and in this country right now. This is 2025 and it is giving Handmaid's Tale. And your story is important because whoever you are, because like news is not what it was, where that's where we got that was like our only source. Like you go home and you watch channel 7, channel 9, channel 11, you watch the news. There is no the news. And the news, if there was other news, was controlled by the person who most likely did not have your complete best interest at heart. And as adults, we say what we say about our youth on TikTok or whatever, whatever socials. Those platforms are important. And if you are an influencer on TikTok, on Instagram, on any of the socials, those avenues are important because you telling your story or you giving your perspective of what's going on in your neck of the woods is somebody's only source of the news. It's somebody's only the news they are going to see. I think those are, especially TikTok, I think those are very important avenues. So today I just wanted to just talk and reiterate. Sometimes we gotta relax and we gotta ease off of poetic devices. Um, I have just been weepy all day. I am admittedly probably not in the best mental health space. That's for real. Um, that's for real. I am and have been for the past week or so quite sensitive to everything around me. And the truth is that may or may not be connected to being bipolar. There is so much going on in the world, and you know how when you're little, you ever hear your parent or some adult say, "I'm gonna give you something to cry about." It's like the universe is just giving us something to cry about. Um, Not that this is coming from the universe, but we have something to cry about. Um, Watching the news and this uh, this threat or promise to round up the Haitians is also don't sleep. is also um, a threat and promise to round up Black Americans also. Um, you, me, all of us, you know, we are not safe, or we are not exempt from this crazy deportation because we were born here, because we have never stepped foot in Haiti. Um, just like Mexican Americans who have never been to Mexico were deported with other Mexicans. Same, same. Same, same. Now, more than ever, it's not fair to say more than ever, because we've had some we've had some rocky times here on this land that we built with our hands. We've had some rocky times, and they're here again. The overt racism is real and deadly and scary. And scary. Um, I grew up in a time where people, as a teenager, I would hear people my age talk about, man, if I was alive during slavery times, I would have whoop-de 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 whoop. And we're here. We are here. Um, and we need, and the world does not really know the real deal of what we are experiencing right now. And it is crazy important that they do. It is crazy important that they do. They are already erasing our history. They're already banning the books. They are already burning the books. They are already rewriting history. Black Wall Street never existed, and it did. Like all of these achievements that we um, have made never happened, and they did. Now is the time. Tell your story. I don't care if you have I don't care if you have 7 followers on TikTok. Open that app and tell your story. I don't care if you don't have 5 minutes worth of material to talk about. You actually do, but I don't care if you don't. You know what? Open that app a minute at a time and tell your story. I was having a very good conversation with a very good friend today who is also a writer. And she currently is working on her memoirs. And one thing about writing the story of your life, boy, do you get stuck. And what we were talking about was very interesting because she said that she was in a space right now where she felt stuck. And y'all know, if you have been watching any of the story times, it's what I talk about. I talk about being stuck in your story, stuck in a story, stuck in your writing. I talk about that in great detail quite often. And with a memoir, with your personal story, what is interesting, and she and I talked about this, so I asked her, I said, the place where you're stuck, is it a place where you are protecting an abuser? And she said, yeah. Yeah, it is. And ain't that about how it goes? So we get to a place in our lives where we are willing to tell it on ourselves. We're willing to say, I could have made a smarter decision here, But we get stuck because we don't want to mention, we don't want to talk about Uncle so-and-so and him being a little too handsy. We don't want to talk about Reverend so-and-so and him being a little too kissy. We don't want to talk about that. And we squash it and squash it and squash it and squash it. And then it just didn't happen. And it did happen. And the danger of, and I know therapists, y'all know that, the danger of it didn't happen, but it did happen, is that it happens again. Either to you or someone else. But it happens again. And not only does the act happen again, but it happens again because it lives in us. And I am speaking from experience. The way we react to something today and how it triggers something from yesterday, something that went untold, something that was pushed so far under the rug that it takes a deep digging to unearth again. But it's still alive. So my conversation with my friend was to, and I'm telling you, when you're at a place where you feel stuck in telling your story, that is very important. That's the whole point of this video today. We're not talking about poetic devices today. We are not talking about kinds of poems today. We're talking about you sitting down and telling your story. We're talking about how deeply important that is. We are talking about how deeply urgent that is. We are talking about how scarily real it is that tomorrow is not promised. We are talking about that. So when you are at a place where you feel stuck, where you feel like, I know that this is an important story. I know that this has been living in my gut, creating the fibroids I'm living with for too long. When you are there, write it slowly. One sentence at a time. One true sentence at a time. And write it knowing this, or write it feeling this, write it like no one is ever going to read it. Yeah, write it like no one's ever going to see it. Call the names you need to call. State all the details. Paint the picture as clearly as you need to paint it. You can pull it back later. If you need to change names later, you can change names later, but tell it at least one time outside of you. Let it live outside of you at least once. If you don't reread it and tell it over and over and over, fine. But tell it once. Tell it once so that it does not live inside of you. Me telling my story once did not put me in a space where I want to call these names over and over and over. It didn't put me there. But it did help me see, you know what? I said this and I did not die. And I said this, and when I look at it, I know that I should not be the one looking away in shame. I don't know what um I don't know what the secret of silence does, but it's a lie. And it had me feeling like I was the one wrong and dirty, and I didn't do anything but be a kid. I didn't do anything but be touched inappropriately. I didn't do anything but that. I had nothing to be ashamed about. But we don't know this. We don't we don't know this. And if you are if you grew up in a time that when I grew up, you might not. It is very probable that you did not have a big person in your life um, who you felt emotionally safe with. It wasn't their jam. It wasn't their jam back then. Um, Unfortunately, um, they, our parents they were taught to buy a house. They were taught to, and that was their motherfucking flex. I bought a house. I put food on the table. I give you clothes. I send you to a good school. That was their flex. And I don't I don't think they had people in their lives that pulled their coattails on some you're supposed to do that. Um and your kids need more than that. And your kids need more than that. So it just I don't know if it just wasn't in their toolboxes, but you be that person now. You be someone else's emotional safety now. But because it wasn't a thing that they were taught and often didn't give, doesn't mean that we didn't need it. We did need it. We did need it. And it doesn't mean that because we needed it and didn't get it, that and we survived, that we are okay not having had that. We are okay as far as we as much as we have grown to appropriate heights and weights, and have achieved um, a certain social status. We were able to, some of us were able to make it through some schools, and get some jobs. But there is a place in here that knows that that thing was missing, and feeling emotionally safe. Um, Growing up without that kind of safety sometimes has you be an adult who does not know how to provide that kind of safety either. Um, so this video will be this rant. I hope that you listen. Um, it will be this rant. I just, like I said, have been weepy. When I get this way, I am, I try best as I can to stay away from the news, because it's all triggering. It's all, it's all enough to make me want to curl up and stay in bed for days. And ain't nobody got time for that. We all gotta work. We all gotta eat. And the days that I do take to stay in bed and just curl up, I need to be focused on achieving some abundance around here. I need to be focused on my good health. I need to be focused on my happiness, my peace of mind, not swallowed in the headlines of the day. And it is easy to do, beloved. It is easy to one story after the next story, after the next dead body, after the next shot down baby, after the next dirty cop, after the next crooked judge, after the next freak off. It is easy to be swallowed, to wake up days later worse than you are when you went to bed in the first place. It is easy. And so sometimes we have to actually cut it off. We have to detach. We have to detach. So the thing about our stories, and all of them, okay, just stay with me, just roll with me. We all have an important story right now. Like, nobody's story is from the same perspective. And the world needs all of it. And whoever you are, you have a job in this. You have a job in making this story told. In letting this craziness be known. You have a job in this. Maybe your job is not telling the world on TikTok. Maybe your job is not that. Maybe you are a white woman who stays at home and cooks and cares for her family. Kudos. You know what your job is, though? Your job is a job that I can't do because I'm not where you are. Your job is to check your husband and children and mother and father and brother and sister at the family dinner table. Your job is to put an end to the racist jokes that you let pass. Your job is that. And that's a big job. That's a big, hard job. Your job is to say no more. Your job is to say, we're going to stop this now. Your job is to say, you want dinner? We're not going to do this anymore. Yeah, that's a hard job. I'm not where you are. But somebody got to fight there. I got to fight where I got to fight. And me fighting my fight costs me. I have to make sacrifices too. And you will lose friends. You will lose family members. Or your relationship with certain family members. You will lose time at the country club or wherever you go to do what you do. You'll lose that, possibly. Somebody else is losing a life because your cop husband went too far. Somebody else is losing a life because your racist doctor spouse didn't do what she was supposed to do. Somebody else is losing a home because Do you know what I mean? All of, like, it's you speaking up and you fighting your fight from a position that nobody else has is important. And it does cost you. I know that space. I remember I I dated this guy who used to say FAG. Like, I hate that word. I really, really do. But he said it a lot. Like, this FAG and da da da. I'm like, why are we like? And I could not be in relationship. I could not be in partnership with that. With that. And I remember one day I was trying to explain. I said, you know how when you see a white man and you can smell the nigger on him, you can smell it on him. And they're at a dinner party and they are trying to make nice, but it stinks. Even though he has a decent enough smile, you know it because you know that smell from far away. They can smell fag on you from far away, and it stinks. And I could not I could not say, this is my boyfriend, this is my partner, this is my, and that's who you are. I couldn't say that. And it costs, because you can't change people sometimes. You can't change people that don't want to change. So, Beyonce, no rings on his finger. So speaking up will cost. Telling your story may also cost. And there are levels to telling your story. Now, you might not be at a space where you are ready to put Uncle so-and-so out there like that, where he needs to be. You might not be there. Write the story anyway. I didn't say write the story and turn your camera on. I said write the story anyway. I said write the story. I said get it out of you anyway. You might find that just the act of you getting it out of you, I have so many mosquito bites, it's crazy. You might find that the act of you getting it out of you encourages you enough to say, you know what, this happened, and here you go. You might find that. If you don't, it's out of you anyway. If you don't, it's out of you, and you breathe a breath deeper than you did before. And that is important. I hope that you get that. I hope that you know that. Yeah. I hope that you know that. I'm going to, I have tuned in to my blog because it is time to tell a story. I hope you're well. And today, after my 30-minute rant, I want to read some things that I haven't read before about something or someone who makes me happy. And it's my son. And I've talked about my son on the story time before, but I haven't read a bunch of work about him. And I choose to now because it will make me happy. And as part of my healing, that is part of my mental health. Writing about things and people that make me happy. And in this time where I don't know that I am the strongest I've ever been mentally. This poem is called Dear Uraeus. And it was written January 1st, 2013. So this poem actually, Dear Uraeus, I have kind of a lot of Dear Uraeuses. But this poem kicked off my 2013 project of a poem a day. So January 1st, 2013. Dear Uraeus, maybe I will never get it right. This honor called mother. It was never manuscript, only these hands, only this heart and these veins that pump dreams for you, wishes that will fence foes from you. Who knows what right is? There was never a you before you came. You are my new under the sun, and here we are. In these years, where you learn to live your life into your own rainbow, and I am left with inherited fears of you and the world and police and stand your ground laws that won't change fast enough. I am ever stomping nightmares, each day visioning you, man with shield and sword, with honor, with table manners, with a love you hold and share whisper. I am proud of you, the human being you became, the spirit large you possess. Your father's eyes and nose, my lips and legs, that deep earth skin, that quiet, that stare that knows, those secrets, those stories. The world is not ready. I have always known you as superhero. You will leave and travel the world. Your hands will heal. Your words will create mountains. Oh, mountains, you are tree, Uraeus. Roots, sky, sun, rock. Dear Uraeus, April 10th, 2013. I don't care if you do not graduate from high school with straight A's or if you become the president of the Black Student Union in college. I care, but then I don't. I care that you become a good person. Care that you open doors for women and children and men who will follow you. I care that when you pick up a pen to write, words will come to you, out of you, fall from you. I care that you will be able to communicate with other human beings and still find it necessary to hug the trees. I care that you remember our stories, our walks and talks, even when I was fussing, even when I was cussing. I care that you wash dishes and keep your home clean because you know how I feel about clean homes and clean socks. I care that you know how to pray. I care that you keep prayer in your home and your heart. I pray that a prayer that you wrote with your own fingers, a prayer that you wrote with your own clean fingers, that you remembered to wash in your clean sink because you remembered our stories. I care and love that you never call your father's wife step anything because there are no fractions and furniture. In our family, there are only holes. I care that you love. Only holes that we keep filling with communication and understanding and love. I care that you love because what you gonna do without love? Nothing. That's what. I care that you remember that. I care that social media does not kill your long to travel, to get away. I care that you call me from time to time, my love, and tell me about your day. I care that you know how proud I am of you. I don't care that you pull away sometimes when I kiss you. I care that you always let me reach you. I care that you be a confidant to your sister. I care that even though you have grown taller than your father, that you look up to him. I care that you know that so many black boys did not get to grow up with their fathers. I care that you look folks in the eyes when you speak and when they speak. I care that you fall in love, that you rise in love. I care about love. I care a whole lot about love. I care about holes. I care about holes being filled with love and water. I care that you drink plenty of water, because who has time to be sitting in a hospital room because of dehydration? I care that you have much better things to do than that. I care that you take walks, long walks. I care that you know your block, that you keep your love of history, that you keep love protecting the little guy. I care that you know that there are no little guys, that you know that nobody is nobody. I care that you care, Urias. I care that you read, that you share, that you are kind, that you are a loving man, so free and beautiful. I care about all of this, not what grade you got in geometry, although geometry is important too. Because writing about what makes you happy and who makes you happy is a part of your story that needs to come out into the world. Because good stories are important too. Good moments, sharing good moments are important too. So speaking of Urias, I remember I used to just, Urias and I would take drives, and I would just say random things like, Urias, when you get older, you remember to da 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 da. And as a parent, you don't know that your children are listening to everything. And when Urias was in the first grade, I have a friend named Falami. And Falami's really good with math. And I am really not good with math. And so, and our children are about the same age. She has a daughter, Urias's age. And so on, I think it was Mondays, I used to go to, Urias and I would go to Falami's house. And she would tutor him in math. And he needed to be taught math from somebody who loved math. And she did. So anyway, weeks before this, Urias and I are on a drive. I don't know why I said this, but I said one day, I said, Urias, when you begin to date, never show up at a woman's house empty-handed. You don't always have to bring money and gifts, but like if you're gonna read, maybe you read your book that you brought into that home. If you're gonna drink, maybe you drink the drink you brought into that home. But don't show up at a woman's house empty-handed. And I don't remember what else I shared, but I was known for sharing like random facts like that or random thoughts like that. And so it's a Monday night. Urias is in the first grade, and we're at Miss Falami's house, and he used to like to get out of the car and race to ring the doorbell first. So he does the normal routine. He got out of the car, he raced to ring the doorbell, and then I'm gathering my bag, his books and toys, and I turned around and he's racing back to the car. And he's screaming, Mom, Mom, I have an empty hand. I have an empty hand. And he said, but you know, I didn't eat my apple today for lunch. Can I bring that? Yes. Yes, you can bring that. That made me happy. August 27th, 2013. Dear Urias, I believe in you. Urias, I will art for you. I will heart for you. I will love who you love. I will remember who you hate. I will pray for you. I will hold fingers and stomach, and I will toes for you. Tippy through dirt over gravel for you. I will space for you, my love. Moon and ocean, I will write and paint for you. Bleed and sing. I will see. I will skin. I will destroy and build, son. I will midnight. I will morning. Cry. Create. Plant. Carve. Dig up. I will dirt, baby. I will clay for you. I will nose. Ear for you. Bones. Teeth. Knees bend. I will shoulder for you whenever you need. And I will, you know. I will, my love. I will, my love. This blog post is titled, I like putting in things in the search bar of my blog. This is an old blog. I think this blog was from 2007 to 2020. And so I'll put certain things in the search bar, and I like seeing what comes up. And this entry is called Parenting While Black. I've been thinking about the visioning Black parents have to do for our children. Speaking light and love and success into their futures. We have to. There is enough to worry us, enough for sure. I find myself consciously affirming, I see Urias healthy. I see Urias happy. I see Urias successful. I see Urias as an adult. I see Urias graduating from high school. I see Urias continuing his life. I see Urias as a man. I see Urias in love. I see Urias working. I see Urias as a responsible adult. I see Urias as a creative and unique expression of God, and so on. And yeah, I have to see that for myself quite often. Wow, this is from 2009, June 2009. And it's called Urias is, because Urias is Urias. And at this stage, he was living with his father and stepmother. I don't like the term step, but just so that you know who I'm talking about. Because she's a great woman, and I don't like steps and fractions and I don't like that. But that's where he was living. Okay, so this is me calling him Urias. Hello, me. Hey, honey, how you doing? Urias, fine. Me, what you doing? Urias, I'm working on a project for school. Me, what is it? We have to pick someone from history and write about him and do a skit about him in class and dress like him too. Me, that's cool. Who are you doing? Urias, Hannibal. That's my son. That is my son. Let's see. This is from September 20th, 2014, and it's called Bookstore Uraeus Grove. I am in the Barnes & Noble bookstore at the Grove in Los Angeles. I am waiting while Uraeus selects the books he wants. Thankfully, he wants books. I birthed a reader. He has been wearing flip-flops since school began at the start of this month. I have offered to get new shoes, and he has refused. I need him with me when I get shoes for him. His feet grow so fast, and his tastes change. Thankfully, it has been 1,000,000 degrees, so flip-flops have been perfect. This morning, he told me that he likes wearing the same pair of shoes until he loses them or they wear out. My first thought was, who loses shoes? We will get more shoes today now that we are here. The Asian man in line cut in front of me while I was waiting to pay for my new journal. He stepped in. I take journals everywhere, okay? You ain't gonna stop me from journaling, okay? He stepped in front of me as if he didn't even see me. I was invisible to him. I was an invisible woman. How invisible would I have been if I were stealing? I wondered. Not that I steal. I was invisible to the white woman at the hospital Thursday night also. I didn't say anything then either. I should have. Thursday, though, with the woman, the white woman, I was so angry at her, probably because I am losing what little patience I have for white folks. I don't care how that sounds. Sure, there are some exceptions, but this moment, tucked in a corner on the top floor of the bookstore with a new notebook, is giving me life. Few things give me life like new notebooks. I thought this was mostly about Uraeus, but it's me with a journal watching Uraeus buy books. If I felt like I could be stressed out about some bills due next week, I would be, but I don't feel like it. So I'm working and trusting. I'm getting my computer out of the pawn shop tomorrow. I am happy about that. So far, Uraeus has selected 4 or 5 books. If I can get each one, I will. I will support his reading habit best I can. I need to get an oil change tomorrow, but we will see. I'm ready to leave the bookstore and walk around a bit, but I don't want to rush him. Besides, I have a comfortable chair right here by the window where I can easily free write my heart out. People watching is the best game ever, you know. Making up stories about folks in line, about folks walking by. I pretend I know which ones are in the witness protection program in my stories. Someone always is in the witness protection program. I like to think I know which people are not choosing between 4 or 5 books for their sons and an oil change, like me. Like the lady carrying the big red American Girl bag in the fold of her arm as 3 young girls gleefully skip behind her. One has a white bow in her blonde hair. I watch the 20-something years old handsome black man with the box cut and black jeans as he is walking with an equally as handsome white male about his age. I imagine him, the black man, whom I have named Charles, coming out to his parents, maybe on a Sunday, just as his mother came home from church. And then there is the Mexican young woman who keeps staring at me. What has she imagined about me? What name did she give me? I want to be a Raquel in someone's story. Not that I look like a Raquel, but whatever. I only half wonder. I don't all the way care. Here are 2 more black men holding hands. I love them. Eden and Bradford, I call them. Bold enough to live their lives out loud. Don't you fucking dare call Bradford Brad, by the way. Of course, his given name is Ray Thomas, but details. He is Bradford now, and you better call him that, you asshole. I have assigned Bradford all this YOLO, hostile ass energy. I don't know why. Probably because his cap and shorts and shirt are all the same print, and I really hate that shit, but it works on him. Dear Uraeus, please hurry up. My son takes his time. He really does. This might be my new favorite bookstore. That woman has a nice sweater on, just my style. What if I asked her if I could try it on? Not for real, but just to see what she would say. We are going to close this bookstore down tonight. The second American Girl bag has crossed my path, rather my eyesight. Maybe I need to check that store out. Oh, Bradford is coming my way. Eden looked me up and down. I think he judged me a little bit. Maybe he's used to old black women judging him. I wasn't judging. I mean, I don't think that clutch purse worked with those capri pants, but that's not a judgment. I'm all confused now. Okay, so Urias just came back to get me to pay for all of his books. I gave up my good chair and went up a flight of stairs for him to ask for 5 more minutes. It's not the time. It's that I already moved my meat and lost my seat in the comfortable chair. Somebody speak to your nephew about this. How interesting that I should end up in a bookstore all day when I skipped my women's writing group today. I have been skipping things a lot lately. This fog in my head is fucking me up. Getting dressed and going to work takes more energy than I seem to have. I have been craving time alone. That's not a good sign for me. But at least I'm riding through it most days. Dear Urias, 5 minutes has passed. Truthfully, he could ask for an hour more and I would be happy. Happy to give it to him. We do bookstores well together. I'll take Barnes & Noble over the Nike store any day. Here he comes. So when I say tell your story, it could be as simple as that. That was a journal entry that was filled with everything in that moment. Everything in that moment. And I tend to use my blogs as the place where I deposit a lot of my journal entries. I also have a private journal, but for the most part, I put it in my blog. Because I like to go back on nights like tonight. I remember that night. But I wouldn't have had I not been able to pull it up. I don't know that if it was still in a blog, if that was a story that I would have kept. I don't know. But in my blog, I have it. So when I say, again, tell your story, it doesn't have to be some deep, dark, scary story. It does not have to be a bad story. And I think that that's where we get confused all the time. It does not have to be that. So when I say tell stories about what is happening in your neck of the woods, I mean that. What is happening? We need your good stories too. We need stories where the dude wasn't a crackhead. We need stories where Mama did come home. We need stories where you did sit at the family dinner table and laugh. How many stories do you see like that? It is important to know that that did happen. It happened. So, tell those stories. I don't know. I don't remember this day right now, but I found another journal entry from the bookstore, and it's from November 9th, 2014. It's 2:07 p.m. and I am at the Barnes & Noble in Bakersfield, not at the Grove. Okay, it's 2:07 p.m. and I am at the Barnes & Noble in Bakersfield with Urias, my wonderful son. I don't remember that. We were just eating at Marie Callender's. Oh, I remember this. We were just eating at Marie Callender's when the apartment manager from the last apartment I applied for called. It sounded good, our conversation. His tone, and the numbers. The location. All the it's. I'm always nervous about applying for things. My internal, you're not worthy conversation comes up. I didn't get the last apartment I applied for my precious credit. Rather, my not so precious credit. Who talks about these things? Dear son, dear grandchildren, dear great great grands, keep your credit good. It matters. I was bummed about not getting the last place, but you know the saying, when one door closes, another one opens. This place is smaller, but I do get a parking space. It's a smaller building, which I like, and it's $175 cheaper. Please pray. I'm praying for the perfect, divine, right space for me right now, my nerves and patience, and I want this to be it. I'll know on Monday. I'll let you know. It is 2:21, and Ure has informed me that he is going into the store next door to use the restroom because the guy in this restroom has been in there for 5 minutes already, and apparently shit stinks. I thought he was coming down to LA with me today, but it didn't work out that way, so I came up to spend the day with him, and that's cool. I missed him. He looks so grown and handsome. We're planning on seeing a movie after this. Who knows how long we will be here? Urias tends to take his time in bookstores. He's not even back from the restroom next door, and so far he's only selected 2 books. It looks like we will be here for a minute. I plan to go to a women's writings group tonight at about 5, but that's probably not going to be happening. This older white man is sitting at the table next to me, probably talking to some younger relative about money. It sounds like his money. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I heard that. I love the way he keeps cutting the person short with, okay, you have a good time. He said that like 3 times. 2:30 and Urias is back from next door's restroom. I'll be here another few hours unless he can find a movie he wants to see. What do I care? I love hanging out with him. I'm especially thankful right now for friends who make my life easier. Specifically, friend who has been a blessing. I don't know what friend I was referring to, but thank you. Send your prayers up for my new place, y'all. 3:25 p.m. and alas, we got out of the bookstore in under 5 hours. Secretly, I am proud to have a son who loves books so much, but still. My son has some handsome feet with his flip-flop wearing self. Them toes need to be did, though. So, we are at the nail shop. Yep, mamas, don't let your boys have poorly manicured feet. The time goes by so quickly. But I'm glad we spent the time we spent together today. I can't wait to see his senior pictures. He told me that his initial pose was with all of his hair in his face, but the photographer said, look, I'm also a mom, so you get that hair out of your face. It takes a village. Urias is handsome anyway. But when he pulls the mounds of hair out of his face and shows off those big, beautiful eyes, you just want to melt. Seriously. Once I asked him why he didn't wear his hair out of his face more often, and he said, Mom, they have to work for my forehead. Okay. 4:01 p.m. and this fancy pedicure session is wrapping up. He doesn't want to see a movie. I'll be dropping him off at home and on my way back to LA soon. Perhaps I'll make the last few minutes of the class. We'll see. Mostly, I got to love up on my son today in the time that we had. Next weekend is his birthday weekend. I was booked to perform in Connecticut, but canceled the gig because I just don't want to be out of town on his birthday weekend. There will be other shows. He doesn't even know what he wants to do for his birthday, but spending time with him on the weekend he turns 17 years old is going to bring me so much joy. Jesus, be a fence around my boy. Keep him safe and in your protection. God, I love my son. Yeah. So, back to writing. We make it harder than it has to be. So, some writing is. Some writing, there is a lot of wrestling involved. The daily writing I am talking about, the daily exercise I am talking about, is as simple as jotting down moments of your day. I'm glad to have this documented. I'm glad to remember that. I'm glad that it'll be there for my son. I know I get ranty in the beginning of these. They're not always so long, but the rants, that is. But today I needed that release. I feel better now than when I started. And I hope that you're well. This was story time with Jaha Zainabu number 32. And 32/365. And I think that 32 story times is pretty badass. I think you're a badass too. Peace.